It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielsen, Matt Cassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
Lies! All lies, voice lady. No cast today. He is on a little family vacation. He was going to join us, but then I think he said his father-in-law booked a round of golf. You don't see your in-laws very often. Gage, you gotta go do that, right? Like, I think.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell your father-in-law that. Yeah, you can. Yeah, exactly. Right, you can connect on your phone. You can't tell your father-in-law, hey, I need to take 25 minutes to be with my very good friends to talk about hockey. Does he not know he's Canadian?
I've seen Cass golf too. Like it takes him 25 minutes to line up a putt. So all he has to do is try to knock one in quick and then just do this. Jeez. And yeah, he's not walking. Like he's in a cart. Like hook that thing up. Let's see.
What are they going to do? Swing. They're going to miss you for 3 hours? Come on.
That's what he should have done. And we should have gone live to, where is he? Oklahoma City?
He's down in Oklahoma. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So go live and let's critique the swing. Let's give us a little content.
We golfed with him once, right? Didn't the three of us play at an event at Cattail?
It was all of the Nelson media crew.
It was the whole crew. Tommy G was there. Like, yeah,
I can't tell you. I was quite pumped that they put us all together too. Like that was a fun afternoon.
Because that was a charity event, but usually we get mixed in on other teams, and we just got to play that one together that day. That was fun, actually. Yeah, that was really nice. Nothing against playing with other people, but it's nice to be able to play with your buddies too. So
we don't get we don't get to do that and then talk amongst ourselves that we don't normally do, Dusty, on a regular basis either. So
that's right, exactly. Lots of F1 talk on when we go golfing. That's for sure. And thank you for the reminder, Gager. F1 lineups must be set because it is race weekend. And if you want a full recap of the race, check out Gage and I on the Pit Stop Pals podcast. We'll have that for you probably by Monday after the race down in Australia. A huge game tonight, and we'll get to tonight in a second. But Paul Maurice and the meltdown last night on the Florida Panthers bench. Like you used to see that more often. You don't see guys freak out like that at their own team very often anymore, Gage. That was an all-timer.
That was the last straw, it looked like, with Paul Maurice with that team. Things really, after the trade of the whole year, I thought we would see a different Panthers team that kind of would have had a playoff position solidified at this point. But man, that was epic. That was great to see. I loved it. I love that emotion. You're going to see people, oh, he was bad. Like, of course, people are going to poo-poo on it a little bit. But I think it's great. And look, I think it worked. The bottom line was it worked. The team needed something. The coach provided it. It was great to watch. I remember coaches losing it. It's kind of, sometimes you're trying not to laugh because you realize there's cameras, there's people looking, everything's on it. But it was great. I loved it.
I'm watching it again as you're talking. And he loses on better. I think he pretty much told everybody on that bench individually to fuck off. Like he was that mad at everybody. Yeah. And then he calms down, takes off his glasses, puts his glasses in his pocket, and then as he's put his glasses in his pocket, he yells, fuck off again, and loses it on the team again. Like he's a different guy. That was quite insane. Like that, when he took off the glasses, I was like, okay, he's done. He doesn't need to see the boys anymore. Tuck it away. And then somebody must have on the bench must have been like 4 eyes. And he's like, what? What do you think about this? Like that was an all-timer though.
I love it. I love how he calmed himself down and then it boiled back up, right? It was great.
So good. So good. Do you remember one or two of those? And you would have been in net for a lot of these because they would have been rattled with you in net, so we're yelling at everybody else.
Yeah, but I would have been on my way probably back to the bench.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember Ronnie Lowe liked the expletives quite a bit.
Really?
But he was really emotional. Matt T wasn't. He was pretty calm on the bench. Like under his breath, he would allow himself to let loose and stuff, but he was quite reserved. The one time I was very scared, and I think I talked, was Kevin Lowe. And we were in Nashville, and he, for some reason, he was GM at the time, but I don't know, he was behind the bench for one game, and maybe we didn't have a coach or something, and he just came and yelled and screamed, and then the fans behind us were quite raucous and giving it to him. And I was like, oh my God, am I going to have to pull Kevin Lowe from going into the stands? He was asking guys to meet him. Like, he was basically saying, you know exactly where I'll be after this game, and expletive, I'll do this, I'll do that. And it was awesome. But it went from funny to, oh my God, I think he's quite serious. He's going to go kill someone after this. Our GM is going to be in the papers next year for killing a fan in Nashville. He was so pissed. But it was great. It was just hilarious having him. And then he wasn't behind the bench the next game. He was back up in the press box. That was it.
They're following up the roast of Joaquin Gage with the roast of Kevin Lowe this summer, are they not?
Yeah, that's coming up in June. That's crazy. Yeah. Good luck to people roasting him. He might bring a stick, probably an old Sherwood 7430. So I would, and that thing's like a 2x4. I would be only nice things.
Do you think with the Maurice thing, just to back there, like, does that type of outrage impact the bench one way or the other? Because that was so over the top. I mean, I could see a couple guys, if I could understand them kind of chuckling a bit, like, holy shit, he's pissed. Like, does that fire them up? Does it just piss them off to be like, screw you? Like, you don't get that bullet very often, right, Gage? So I think you have to make sure it works. Does that make that much of an impact with today's modern player?
I know you've seen it too, Dusty, but that is the final scene of John Wick 4 with the duel. You only have a certain amount of bullets, and you keep moving forward until that last, until it's all over, right? And that, you can only do it so many times before it just becomes Charlie Brown teacher noise, right? So, but looking at the facial expressions of some of the players, and even some of the players yelling too, like, come on, boys, let's get this going. Obviously, I don't think they'd seen that a lot. So
yeah,
that was one of the bullets he had in the chamber that he hasn't used in a while. It had an effect, right? And it can have an effect if you don't hear it a lot. They go, oh my God, the coaches, geez, we're really shitting the bed here. We gotta pick this up. But you can't keep doing it all the time, or it just it's like, oh, here we go again, right? So it was crazy. It was just crazy.
Quick John Wick 4 spoiler alert. If you're watching or you're listening to the podcast, give us about 60 seconds here. Spoiler alert, the showdown, the duel at the end, and the way they finished it, and like, he didn't shoot, and it was perfect. Like, it was a perfect way to finish that thing. That was amazing.
Hey, one of the most amazing movies ever, Dusty. It was so good. It was so
I'm gonna go again. I'm gonna go to theater again and see it. Like,
I can't wait till I'm sure my son will be in on it. We're just gonna go. What are we doing? And I'm gonna make sure he's 18. Let's go grab a 6-pack and watch 4 John Wick movies.
What a day!
What
a day! My God, I've got that. I mean, my kids are 6 and 8, so we haven't got into it yet. But I came home from John Wick, and I told Marshall I was like reenacting it, and he's got this new little shotgun and he was like, "Tell me about it, Daddy." I said, "Well, he goes 1 to the body, 2 to the head." So for like 5 days now, Marshall's been running around with this shotgun, being like, boom, 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 and then he'll be like down on one knee, and he'll look at me and goes, "Daddy, does John Wick kill anybody when he's like this?" I said, "Yeah." And then he'll lay down. He'd be like, "What about this?" It's like, does John Wick use a sniper rifle, Daddy? Or does he not? Like, he's trying to, like, I cannot wait till he watches this stuff. It's going to be amazing. God, that was so good. So good. And yeah, that was kind of like Paul Maurice a little bit. A little good rant right at the end. You got only so many bullets. And if you can trick somebody in the end, you might still win. But all right, let's get into the Oilers and Kings tonight, Gager. could be a possible playoff preview. It would be if the season started today. Kings would have home ice. They're right there. Oilers win tonight. They bump up top. If the Kings win, they'd be tied with the Golden Knights. I think the Golden Knights have the tiebreaker there for now. But it could be very likely that one of these teams wins the division and the other one's playing Vegas with the difficulty of Vegas' schedule down the stretch. So when you have this game and you've got another one next week and they're a playoff opponent coming up, Gager, are you trying to empty a clip, John Wick reference, trying to empty a clip here to send a message to these guys right now? Or do you not want to give away too much of your game plan to these guys right now? Like, how do you approach this game at this time of year?
If I'm coaching in this situation, I'm showing these guys what they're in for at the start of playoffs. I'm not holding anything back. The Oilers have essentially said the whole season, we're going to score more goals than you, and I don't care if it's 1 or 7. That's what we're doing. Try to stop us. They've gone complete, another reference, Baba Yaga on the NHL with their scoring. All right. So yeah, I go right at them. I don't care. I want them to adjust to our style of game. I don't want to have to make adjustments to how the Kings play. I think last year, halfway through the series, they found out that playing the puck in certain areas, especially below the goal line, the Kings defense just had a hell of a time trying to defend that small zone play that the Oilers could do. And I think that is even better. And when you look at some of the defensemen who are a little bit longer in the tooth, although you have to watch out for the leg, sweeping the leg from the Edlers of the world. But yeah, I think they can really exploit some of the foot speed of the Kings defense when they get the puck. And that everyone talks about how great they're a defensive-minded team, and they've got some great centermen that do great jobs, and they're going to have their hands full with two of the best players on the planet. But I think when it gets to that area, it's going to be a different story. But does Korpisalo, if he's the goalie, done well against the Oilers in the past, has that series against the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Giant Slayer series as well. So this is going to be one of the best series going. Like, it's going to be great.
If we get it, it's going to be amazing. Yeah,
it's that perfect, like they talk about in boxing, those perfect matchups, right? So the defense against the great offense. What's going to happen here? I think it's awesome. Well, I'm not representing too. Jesus, sorry.
Oh yeah, there you go. Get that cool bet out there. Yeah, I thought you were going to show some cleavage there for a second. I was like, what's going on with this guy?
It's not OnlyFans, Dusty.
Yeah, that's right. Free still. Yet. All right, so let's break this thing down position by position. Let's start with the forward group. I mean, it just sounds obvious. The Edmonton Oilers have the better forward group, Gager. Offensively, they're significantly better. Defensively, I think the Kings would have a better forward group. But that's not enough to even this thing out, right? Like, the forwards advantage goes to the Edmonton Oilers here. There's no real debate about it, is there?
No, I don't think so. They've got great players, but they just, you look at the age, and Kopitar is still a great player. Deneau's unbelievable. But you can't, it's a great 1-2 center punch, but not what the Oilers can throw at you with what they have. And I know they've added some players, and they'll have Doughty back, Korpisalo, like the little buzzsaw, what's his name? Arvidsson.
Yep.
Yeah. Fiala, it's going to be different. It's definitely going to be different. But I just think that's if you take that top six and look at it on paper compared to the Oilers, they still have more firepower up front. I've been thinking about the defense too, and gosh, Ekholm evens a lot of this stuff out. You know, he really does. I still have to maybe give the edge to the Kings with it.
It's close, right? Like, because it's really tough because you can't read into anything from last year because the Oilers didn't have Ekholm, obviously. The Kings didn't have Doughty last year. That Kings blue line held up relatively well against the Oilers last year without the guy back there. So that's going to be a big difference. To me, part of it comes down to how well Darnell Nurse plays. in this series, like who has the advantage on the blue line. Because if you want to make a case that it could be a saw-off or a slight advantage to the Kings, I mean, I might have time for it, but I think with Ekholm, if Nurse is playing as well as he has lately, I think you can make a case the other way. I think it's pretty much a dead heat on the back end, but it maybe Doughty's playoff success and experience comes into factor a little bit more than anybody else in this thing.
And his presence, his ability to get under other teams' skin. He doesn't shy away from any of that stuff. I'm in a 7-game series. I hated guys that never shut the fuck up, and he's going to be talking like crazy. So there's going to have to be some Oilers are going to have to be very careful of not getting sucked into those types of situations. They're going to have to show a lot of discipline with this. Edler, what he's going to do and his kind of cheap shots that that he has. There's going to be a lot of situations where you got to take a number, I think, in this series, Dusty. Take a number. When you get your shot, make sure you finish it and make it count. But I think the Kings have that arrow in the quiver just to get under the opposing team's skin a little bit more than I'd say the Oilers do.
All right, and then you get between the pipes, and you did have Skinner ahead of Korpisalo in your goaltending rankings. It was close this past week. The one area where Korpisalo would have it, you did mention that 1 year in the playoffs. He's played 9 career playoff games. He's got a goals against average of 1.41. So I guess we can say we do know that the moment doesn't appear to be too big for him now. Going up against actually, that was against a really good Tampa team. That Tampa team was loaded too, and he played well in that one, and that was a very interesting series with the way that he played. So he's got that little bit of advantage there. I think he's got like a 931 in 6 games with the Kings, so it's been pretty good. But this is kind of like the whole blue line conversation too, man. Like there's not a lot of give and take either way between the pipes, I don't think.
No, I think it's I think it's pretty even with the goaltending matchup. It comes down to who plays better, really, right? Like I think you're going to see some goals in this series. Who can take a few away more than the other guy throughout this. It's going to go long. I'm calling for a 7-game series with this if it does happen. The teams are too good. But I like Skinner's game, just the way he plays, just solid. I think he plays in a way that the Kings, when he's on his game, the Kings will have to do something special to get the puck past him. Deflections, rebounds, and he's so good at controlling those situations. Korpisalo, more of a quick type goaltender where he's a lot more movement. He has great ability to make big saves, don't get me wrong, and he's done it with we saw what he was able to do with the Blue Jackets here. He was unbelievable, right? But I think there's ways that the Oilers can exploit his style of play to get the puck past him better than the Kings can do things to create holes in Skinner's game.
And we do talk about this possible series because if the playoffs started today, it would happen. We've got one guy on the Twitter account right now saying he thinks the others are going to finish first. Then they get Seattle or like Nashville or one of Calgary or Winnipeg, which would be interesting in some of those matchups, that's for sure. But for this conversation today, because they would play if it started today and they are playing tonight, we're kind of focused on this. I don't know if you took anything away from it last year, but we've already seen this once with the 2 head coaches, Gager, and I mean, Woodcroft and the Oilers got it done last year. I think Todd McClellan has the ability to do some really good things against this Oilers team, though. Where's the advantage behind the bench, do you think?
Gosh, that's a good one. We saw McClellan, I think you'd have to actually give it to McClellan. Just the fact that he's had a lot of these guys in his stable before, right? He knows what these guys can do. He's familiar with the coach on the other side too, having had conversations at length about strategy. I think I have to give the edge to McClellan at this point, but you also got to remember that Woodcroft came in like that shotgun from John Wick with the fire bolts, right? Like last year, just coming on. Now we haven't seen what Woodcroft has now, just having the full season, having the team under his belt for the whole year, and able to possibly implement different strategies that he knows now he can do. Like having that full year of NHL coaching experience, I think, throughout, and not just that little snapshot and going straight in. Yeah, I still have to give it to McLeod, but it'll be interesting. The whole 11-7 thing is that's what I want. What's
See
he
how
going to
that
go
plays
with?
out. Yeah, that would be good. Well, and remember last year, later in that series, it was like he had 2 bottom 6 lines and was like using McDavid double shifting in the top 6. Remember that for the final couple games last year? So pretty unique strategy. And that's like the ultimate load up, right? When you're double shifting Connor in the top 6. You can't possibly do anything else at that point, and they used it to get by them last year and obviously advance to where they got to last season. Okay, let's talk about this. It's the number 1 versus number 2 power plays in the National Hockey League tonight. The Oilers are about 7 percentage points better. They're just ridiculously good this year. It's historic. It's the best power play probably that we've ever seen. How are you supposed to even attempt to stop it, Gage? Like, obviously, well, I guess teams have been successful 68% of the time, but that's just not going to be good enough in a series against the Oilers. You're going to have to do a little bit of a better job than that. So there's so many options. A lot of it is just brilliantly skilled hockey players who think the game at a level that other guys just aren't thinking it at. And that's such a disadvantage because how are you supposed to game plan for guys who are going to freelance so well that those guys do? So how would you attempt to do it? Like, what? Because the Kings penalty kill sucks. Oilers penalty kill is about the same. So I'd be fascinated how the special teams would work out with 2 good power plays and 2 brutal penalty kills. I feel like that favors the Edmonton Oilers, but I don't know how you're supposed to contain this Oilers power play.
I think there's 31 other teams saying the same thing, Dusty. It was funny hearing how people at the last game in Vegas in the press box with a lot of other scouts watching that game, and the Oilers scored on the power play, and there was laughter in the press box with all these other scouts and heads of NHL teams just marveling at this power play because it's taking seconds for them to establish it and score. I think I really don't know how you defend it. The only thing that I look at is when the Oilers if things aren't going well, sometimes they start to try to do something special with the puck. Like you see now, it's just quick. Their thought process is so fast. They're creating the chaos early by I think they're getting the puck even to the net earlier on in the power play, which is causing everyone to turn, scramble, and try to locate pucks. And the puck, I guess that would be the biggest thing, is the puck retrieval after attempts on net. Kings have to do that first.
You cannot give the Oilers a second reset.
No, because once the chaos ensues, everyone tries to reestablish their triangle or what have you, what they're doing. They have to be first on that. And if they have to get whistles, slow everything down to a standstill. If I'm a goalie, I'm freezing everything at that point. You have 2 great centermen that can win draws. Even if it looks like you can play the puck or get it out or move it, you're getting a face-off and just trying to slow down that power play as much as possible. I think that's the only thing you can do.
Yeah, I don't know what you're supposed to do. It's like we always thought for the Caps power play for a long time. Just put somebody go stand over by Ovi, and it hasn't worked for like 15 years. So there's just some things that are undefendable, and the Oilers power play appears to be one of them. As for this game quickly tonight, Gager, the Oilers play high-scoring games. That's just usually how it works. The Kings have only allowed more than 2 goals in regulation one time in their last 10, so it's a little bit of a sort of clashing of styles here. What wins out tonight? Like, am I wrong to actually expect low-scoring-ish 3-2, 4-2, hard fought tight game, or is this thing fucking 7-5 again? Like,
no, because the speed of this game is going to be ridiculous tonight. Like it's the talk, and I'm sure the Kings coming into Edmonton now, they finally get to watch hockey highlights on TV. You know, everyone's talking about this game in this city. Like they went out to dinner, and I'm sure they had hundreds of people coming. Can't wait for this game. Can't wait. Like it feels like a playoff game already, and I can feel it out in the mean streets of Terwilliger right now. There's a buzz. There's a buzz. So I think we're going to see a quick game, and everyone loves to play offense, Dusty. No one likes to play defense all the time, and the Oilers do play at a speed where you can get chances going back the other way. I can't see it being a low-scoring game because the Kings are going to want to score too. This is going to be a really fun game to watch. I can't wait to see kind of what it looks like, because it's a snapshot of probably the potential 7-game series that we're going to see in a few weeks.
Yeah, which would be absolutely amazing. Are you on Oilers Plus or anything tonight? You got anything else going on?
No, I'm got the night off.
Again, hey? Jeez.
Well, no, well, it's an F1 night too, so there's practice tonight. I got 2 screens going.
All right. Well, we'll let that go for you then. Hey, you didn't watch yesterday's Mandalorian, did you?
No. I did the same thing you did. Got in and then nothing.
I turned it on when I should never do this. It's like 11:20. I'm exhausted. I barely napped yesterday. Put it on. Watched like the first. I do think I got about 7 to 8 minutes out of it, and that's about it. So I'll probably do that after the Oilers game tonight. Finish that up. So that'll be good. Gager, I guess we'll talk to you on the Pit Stop Pals at some point this weekend, buddy. Enjoy that hockey game tonight, man.
Can't wait.